You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV. I am Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck and you are watching A Better You, lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. I have hand-selected a team of people from across the globe who are experts in their field. They volunteer their time to come forward and present a bite-sized lesson of 15 minutes to help us be better personally and or professionally. Our expert presenter today is Daphne Diluce. Let's welcome her. Hi, Daphne.
Hi, Dr. Jacalyn. Lovely to see you.
Nice to see you as well. And it's always a joy when you're presenting a lesson because you have so much experience and you are so talented. I think you're very humble and we don't celebrate all of your successes enough. So I'm happy that you're here to talk to us about your lesson today is centered around fear. And I think fear is something that paralyzes people and stops them from making decisions or going forward in life when the next major opportunity could be right in front of them, but they're letting fear block them. So before I spotlight you, I just want to let everybody know that you are a brand designer and a builder. You're a strategist. You are an entrepreneur. You have Brand Clever, Roar Media Creative, as well as other companies. And you've really helped people change their lives and change their businesses by looking at what is your branding, what is the message that you're conveying, how are you communicating with your clients, with your audience. So what else would you add to that about all the beautiful things you are doing in this world?
I love spending time with you because you're so nice to me. It's so nice because usually I'm on the hot seat, creating so much and firefighting and helping people. So what else do I do? Do you know what? A big part of what I do is I actually create value, because a lot of people in business, they want to take the value out of the business, but they don't see where the value is in the business. And if there's no value there, then how can you take it out? So you have to put it in first. And this is though I do build models, but I'm also a design and builder. I'm a whiz on CAD and lighting design and building buildings. I love that. And actually all those buildings and all that commercial work that I do and I've done, it always starts from brand up. So the branding comes from deep knowledge and a lot of hard work. But this ties in beautifully today with actually did the fear concept and actually branding and creating value. So I hope that you're going to enjoy my presentation, and I'm just going to love helping you all a little bit more.
We learn so much from you, and we always get a lot of audience engagement, participation. So I just want to encourage everyone, please do send in your comments. We're not going to interrupt Daphne while she's presenting, but we will definitely read the comments out loud and have a discussion about them. How does that sound, Daphne?
That sounds so wonderful. Yeah.
Fantastic. Great. Would you like to go forward with your presentation, or should we take a commercial break?
You could take a commercial break. And
yes. We'll take a break and hear from some of our sponsors. We'll be right back. Stay with us here on USA Global TV.
Hey everybody, my name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'm the host of the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, and I want to invite you to pick up my book, Unstoppable. I wrote a book called Unstoppable. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. The one thing that my 20 years of law enforcement has taught me is that no matter who you are, we are all governed by universal laws, like gravity. But in this book, we're going to talk about laws like the law of forgiveness, laws like the law of control, the law of intelligent practice, the law of expectancy. I was able to see how those, no matter what their background was, those who identified and treated these laws with respect, they were able to go on and lead successful lives. So pick up this book, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, RalphGravesJr.com, where anywhere where fine books are sold. Thank you.
There are 7.7 billion people on Earth today. 40% of these people are under the age of 25. Young adults are the most fertile mission field in the world today. In Scripture, we see Jesus pouring his life into 12 young adults who he equipped to change the world and all of history. Like Jesus, we believe that the best approach to reach the world with the gospel is to invest in young, emerging leaders and equip them to build disciple-making movements. Concentric is the notion of surrounding and sharing a common center. Our center is the model and strategy of Jesus for both leadership development and ministry formation. As a global alliance, we provide equipping in biblical leadership based on Jesus' example in the New Testament. Jesus modeled for us how to make disciples that reproduce. Focusing on leadership development is key to creating movements that spread the gospel and Jesus' disciple-making strategy to young leaders around the globe. Our Ministry Alliance partners are actively equipping leaders and building movements of multiplication that reproduce the life of Christ. Join us today to equip young leaders with Jesus' strategy that will change cities and nations.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAP partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAP partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Academy Sedan and Limo is a full-service transportation company serving the Philadelphia metropolitan area with full knowledge of the New York City, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. areas. We pride ourselves on being the most dependable, conscientious company in the industry. Our always on-time service and dependable pricing make us the company to call for any event or occasion. Our vehicles can accommodate any size party for any occasion. Our vehicles range from four-door sedans to SUVs to minivans to limo buses to full-size tour buses and can accommodate groups of 2 to 100. We offer airport shuttle service or over-the-road service without limitation regarding mileage or time, and no drive is too long or too far. So if you find yourself in need of transportation of any type with any vehicle, give us a call at 610-842-4564 and let us show you what a real transportation company can do for you.
Use code ACADEMY2020 to receive 20% off your first 3 rides, including parking and tolls.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello and welcome back to USA Global TV. You are watching A Better You, lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. Our expert presenter today is Daphne Diluce, and her lesson is on Fear is Your Friend. Are you ready to present?
Yes, I am. And then we'll just look at the slide at the end of the talk. Okay.
Fantastic. All right.
I'm ready when. Okay.
All right. Have a great lesson.
Thank you. Okay, everybody. So what on earth would you really think when you're in such a really frightened kind of mood or something's just happened and fear can take you in very many ways, and this can be a very serious situation. If somebody said, "Oh, make fear your friend," you'd probably want to smack them, or you'd think they were crazy. But it is important to actually learn about fear before we get into fearful situations, because then we're prepared. So, who's Daphne Diluce, and why has she got the right to talk about fear? It's because I've had a really such a interesting life, but a very, very hard life, and with a lot of diversity in it, and a lot of negative diversity, where I found myself in very many frightening situations, even to the point of being kind of housebound and paralyzed in fear for weeks, and terrible panic attacks. That was a long, long time ago. Thank heavens I don't have them anymore. And actually now I don't have too much fear, although I do have fear, which I'm happy about, because fear keeps me alive. Actually, it is my friend. But it's taken me many years and many very difficult scenarios in mind, body, heart, and soul, in everything you can think about, have I learned the lessons in fear. So today I'm going to share some to help you navigate your way through life, so you can get more out of it and use your fear as a friend. And also not only get help yourself, but perhaps you're going to help your clients, perhaps you're going to help your loved ones, and so forth. So let's start. So when we get that first fear thing, it usually comes from just nowhere. And actually, we can never know how we react. And this is really interesting. And there's a few things that I've seen in life, and there's a few experiences that I've had where I didn't actually expect to be fearful. So one thing that comes to mind, I was actually driving through Europe, and I got stopped by the Belgian police. And I hadn't done anything wrong, not to my knowledge. I love driving. I drive a lot. I've driven a lot right through Europe by myself, or with all my kids in the car by myself. So a very capable driver and great map reader. So I really watch the dial and make sure that my speed is right. And when you have your children in the car, you're very careful. Anyway, this day I got stopped by the Belgian police. Now was confident, happy, and I didn't think I'd done anything wrong. But as soon as I opened the window, my body started to shake uncontrollably. And it was awful. And they looked at me as I was crazy. Anyway, long story short, they gave me a fine, because what they did, I got boxed in and I had to speed to get it out of a dangerous situation, and I got fined for it. Well, do you know what? It's fine. They could have my money as long as my children were safe and we could get on and go on. But it was really upsetting, and then it took me a couple of days to get over it. I was absolutely exhausted. So what is that thing when the copper knocks on your window, and some people are very confident, some people fall apart? Another scenario, what is it when suddenly something ends, something stops? Maybe a relationship just finishes, and you wake up happy, you wake up, you're married, everything's fine. By tea time, you're getting divorced and everything's wrong. And then the fear sets in. Or what about looking at illness? Perhaps we have illnesses we have to manage, or perhaps we have illnesses that we don't know that we have them, and then somebody tells us, or we have to manage them. The fear can come up, and it can be so difficult. So you see, let alone the fear of life. But the thing is, I'm just kind of describing different scenarios because I want you, ladies and gentlemen, to start feeling, where have you had fearful experiences before, where you actually didn't expect your body to react in a certain way? And maybe what are you frightened of now? Are you, have you got something up and coming that you have a little anxiety about? So it's important to really get real and to start feeling it and really focusing in on what the heck we're talking about. Otherwise, we're not going to benefit hugely. So why do we do this? Well, it's important to kind of look at fear and to start understanding, where does fear come from before we can even do anything with it. Well, it comes from the good old reptilian brain, which is very old, and it's a part of us that keeps us alive. And the thing is, the reptilian brain, it's so fantastic and powerful and great, but it's also doesn't have much knowledge. So it'll just be very reactive. So it's there to keep you alive. It's there to keep you safe. But the thing is, we just have to remember that it's there and it's a part of us. And it's so deep in our physiology, in our psychology, in everything that where we're making decisions from, that often we all really underestimate it. So lesson 1, go and study what the reptilian brain is and how it works. You'll be so happy you did if you haven't already. Now, the thing is, what does this reptilian brain do? It will say no, especially if it's not comfortable or you don't know it. So, for example, if you've got to go on a long trip and you not particularly like driving on motorways and you've got a new car, might be a cause for some anxiety. Your brain will automatically be saying, oh, don't like it, get the bus, get the train, fly, I want my old car back. Anything to get comfortable, because then you know it, and your body will say, okay, we know that, we know what we're doing, we'll go for that. So when you start kind of looking at this, you start to think, oh, okay, then this brain is this reptilian brain is helpful. Yeah, so when it's triggering or giving us sensations and feelings, it's helpful. So the thing is, that's great, but you have to remember what's going on. You have to start to actually get to know how this reptilian brain works. Now, the next thing that I want to go to is actually when you have got something to overcome and you're very, very frightened about it, it's like, how do you manage fear in that situation? Well, first of all, you need to actually plan for your outcome. So say there's something now you really have anxiety about. Maybe you don't have full-on fear, but you have anxiety about it. You're worrying about it. It makes you feel uncomfortable, or you just wish it would just go away, or keeping you up at night. Then the thing is, it's just like, okay, stop right there and let's plan for the outcome that you want. Now, this is really great, because then you've got reptilian brain, and then you've got the outcome that you want to do. So what is the bit in the middle? Okay, well, the bit in the middle is actually to start with managing your emotions and your feelings, and actually putting certain things in place to help you step by step. And I love the phrase, like, we'll take baby steps. The slower you go, the faster you get there. Everybody who knows me, they'll hear me say that a lot. So this actually works in fear as well. So let's take an example. We're going on a trip. And on that trip, we've got several hazards. So it's a good idea to sit down and actually start writing down what the fear is. So question 1, what is the fear? You write down what it is. And then the thing is, then you look at it and then imagine the fear 10 times larger than it is, and really just feel it in that moment. And if you do this in your office, your home, in a safe place, you know you're not in danger. There's no kind of prehistoric animals coming for you, or scary people with guns, or whatever it could be, or even people who wear really bad outfits. Something can be scary too. Anyway, or just people with bad attitudes and unpleasant, toxic people. Yeah, but you're not in that environment. You're in a safe environment, and you're thinking about this. And this is why this is good, because just go through the steps and write this down. Okay, so the thing is, it's a good idea to be able to deal with your feelings, because first of all, a feeling will come, and then that feeling, you have a choice, and you've got like a 6-second window for this to choose your emotion. Okay, so the thing is, oh, I don't like heights personally, so I will manage my life, and I will make sure that if there's anything high, that I will say respectfully, I will wait for you in the cafe. Respectfully, that's something that I'm happy for you to do, but I'm going to go and do something else right now. And if I find myself in a situation where I have to go into a place where I know exactly that I'm not going to like it, I will tell people around me, hey, I have this. This is likely to happen. So please, can I hold to your arm, or please, can you distract me, because I need some help to get through this. So I manage it. Yeah, so this is like really important. Now, what I'm saying, people could say, well, it's actually common sense, but when you have fear and fear raises and your emotions, common sense, you can't feel common sense because your emotions are so powerful into keeping you safe, you are just cannot. This is why when you kind of just plan your outcomes, when you have to go to fearful situations, and the more that you do this, the more skilled you become. So this is actually about helping you find a skill set to manage fear. And the skill set is planning for the outcomes that you want, but understanding that you have to understand your reptilian brain. And then you also have to understand it's so important to not dilute your fear. You must really feel it, because it can save your life. And how many of you have been in those situations where you might be in a car park at night light, or you're walking down an alleyway, which I would advise you walk down alleyways at night. Plan to do something else. But if you should find yourself in any difficult situation and all your senses are telling you that something's wrong and you feel frightened, then believe it as well, because it can save your life. Then if you feel anything like that, you think very quickly and go to somewhere safe, stand in the light, go and stand with people, move out of those situations. But this is the part that's common sense, is that half of this you can actually eradicate by planning your outcomes in life. So if you're, don't be walking in the middle of the night, down alleyways or places that you don't know. Don't do that. Don't be by yourself in situations where there are threats around. To plan your outcome. Go from position of self, position of strength, and position of safety. Yeah. And because life will throw challenges up to you anyway, but when you actually plan your outcomes, you can save a lot of stress and save a lot of fear. And when the fear comes up, you can actually manage it. Like, for example, if you get pulled over by a policeman and you absolutely lose, you're hyperventilating, you can just breathe through it, say, I'll be right with you. I'm not feeling good right now. Let's just give me 5 minutes for me to get myself together. So you can actually start to kind of look at all these scenarios before they ever happen. And then if and when or should they do, it's just easier to manage. Okay. Now, the next thing about fear, I was thinking to myself, what analogy can I give people that would help them check in with fear? So, and how to work with it. So I want to use a weather report. Okay, so the thing is, a lot of people will check the weather. They'll check the weather because what they're going to wear, what the journey's going to be like, or how they're going to work with no air conditioning. And they're going to keep warm and all that snow, or whatever it is, they check the weather report. So check in with any scenario that you've got. Is it a fearful one? Is there any fear there? So what do I need to manage the fear? So if it's, when I grew up in Cornwall, which is a beautiful part in the world, right at the tip of England, and the weather is wild down there. And I had a very strict mum, and she always said, there's no bad weather, there's only bad clothing. We were brought up very tough. So you never complained about the weather. However, if it's stormy, you should be putting on appropriate clothing to manage that. So you are good. So check in with your own fear weather report, or your fear report. Check in with it, and then arrange it. Design your outcomes and manage yourself. And if you have such fear where it needs medical attention, then don't play around with that too. Find good doctors and good therapists to talk to, because fear and anxiety will come from a deeper anxiety. And when we have certain things, especially we have certain things within our health, and then anxiety associated with that, there'll be a deeper cause somewhere. And there's so many beautiful people out there to help you, and so many wonderful therapies. And actually, good old-fashioned talking is a great one. Find somebody who you just love to be with and you like them. Talk your head off and get it out. Really express and find the things in you that why you're fearful. Because sometimes the tiniest thing you don't realize is can cause so much trouble in your mind, because your reptilian brain's trying to keep you safe. So let's bring it back now to business and fear in business and fear in making decisions. And it's the same thing as planning the journey. So for example, before I actually make a brand, I do a business model. So I do the model, does it work? Do you know how much fear that takes away? It's amazing. It's like going on holiday in business. I go, wow, we found all this junk, what we don't need, and it's going to cost too much money. It's not going to work. That doesn't fit. We just eradicate that. And then we start putting in place the things that will work, and the things that will make it great, and the things that will make it strong. So then we actually start to take away threat. Okay. And we take away risk. But at the same time, in life as humans, to live an exciting life, or even to build an exciting business, we need certainty and uncertainty. A little bit like sweet and sour, that perfect mix that makes it addictive, exciting. So the thing is, don't be worrying about the fear, but understand your fear and learn the skills to manage your fear. That's the advice today. So I think I would also be very, very careful with the young ones, because sometimes we can transfer our fear onto them. And so when you've got these little people crawling around and they're in their first steps and they're in their first part of life, if we kind of go, oh, you're going to fall, oh my God, oh. You know, you will make them so full of anxiety. And that's where you perhaps something like that could have happened to you when you were little, so you're more fearful than you need to be. But it's so important to actually check out what's coming out of your mouth and how you're reacting around difficult situations. And it's always good to be steadfast and calm, and then take a minute at a time. And sometimes it might be just 5 minutes at a time. Sometimes you can take a day at a time. But sometimes it's just in those little moments where they can be life-changing moments, in those literally few seconds to when you choose to go left or right, up or down, whether you actually choose to go into full panic or you just count to 10. Anyway, that's enough for me today. As always, I can go deep and high all these subjects, but I really do hope that helped you or someone out there today. And also, I think what I do when I get fearful, I face it, I make my plan, and then I always remind myself that whatever I'm frightened about, whatever I think a scenario is going to be, it's never been what I thought it would ever be. No way. There's always good in everything. You just have to literally just pull back and observe and just learn the skills to manage your fear. And on that note, thank you for having me. My name is Daphne Diluce, and today I was presenting Fear is Your Friend on USA Global TV with the wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. Thank you.
Well done. Fantastic.
Thank you.
And it came at a great time, because I was feeling a little fearful earlier today, and trying to breathe through it and listening to what you were saying. And I'm going to be getting on the highway myself tomorrow, and thinking about having driven in a long time. and just, probably over a year, like getting on a highway and driving. And so that story that you told about the police officer, I think really resonated. So thank you. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm really good. And I think it's like so important, for you going on that long drive, there's lots of things where fearful situations could come up. Like, for example, first of all, because so many of us have been really in lockdown and really where our boundaries and horizons have shrunk, that actually now we've become so comfortable on Zoom or comfortable in our environment. So it's like, so when we start walking out and being out again, our minds have rewired themselves to be confined. Yeah. So I think it'd be such a good idea if you did some kind of meditations where you're imagining horizons and highways and seeing yourself go out there safely, things like that, just to tell your mind, hey, mind, we're going on a trip. Yeah. And this is what I mean about preparation. And another thing too, which would be great, is where you're going. So I would do a little bit of research and make some stops and make some really lovely places, so you've got something to look forward to. Because the thing is, sometimes when you're on a highway, it depends on how you start that drive, because that sets the journey. So it's so important. So you could kind of say, okay, we're going to do 2 stops, or we're going to do 3 stops. We're going to set off and we're going to have this refreshments in, so we can look forward to having those in the car. We're going to stop at this kind of inn or some special place with a view, or some special place where they make the best pancakes or something like that. And the reason being, you can tell your mind, we have got something to look forward to. Because the mind loves pleasurable things. It's a comfort. So then you're overriding the fear, right? Because if you're driving into the unknown, like, I don't know how it's going to be, what's going to happen, and then the reptilian mind is going, okay, there's something to be frightened of, and it starts to will. But if you just calm it and say, we're having pancakes halfway there, and when we get there, the reward will be. It's amazing how this kind of changes. And then also too, it's really good to have in your bag just kind of like a little DIY little health kit. It might be a thermometer, it might be some aspirin, some Nurofen, it might be some cooling cream for your ankles, it might be an insect spray. Any of these things, it's just this little bag of handy things, some cooling wipes, so this kind of thing. So, and then lovely music. Plan your playlist, because music is fantastic for calming down your feathers and sending you off into a lovely thing. And then if you've got people in the car that you've got different kinds of music, then you make sure that you have headphones for your guests. And headphones. And all these things, they sound like common sense, but how many people actually do it? But when you actually do it, it'll make a huge difference to your journey. And most importantly, the last thing to actually help with fear or anxiety or those things is a good night's sleep, because your hormone levels are going to be a lot more, balance. So if you don't have enough sleep, everything's going up and down, and then we as humans, we're so delicate in some ways, we get triggered. Being human is difficult. You always hear me saying you have to teach children and people how to be human. This is a part of it. So I've got a question for you. What do you think? Do you think fear holds people back in business very much? What have you seen in your experience, Dr. Jacalyn?
Yes, I think fear associated with failure, and also fear and money together, because people are fearful that if they put whatever money they have into their business and it doesn't work out, what are they going to do? Or if you have a job where you're getting a paycheck and you give it up to go into business, there's a ton of fear. And then even when you're in business, it's, are you going to continue having a revenue stream that's commensurate with the lifestyle that you're living? Or are you outliving, or is your lifestyle too high based on what it is you're earning? And so I think all these things they become like this huge rock that you're trying to push up a hill, that in your head you've created this entire story that is now going into part two, like a sequence, a series of stories that aren't even true. And before you realize it, you've created this reality that is not a reality, and then it's holding you back.
Very well said. Well, I'd just like to unpack a few things. And I know at the beginning of my time with you here, I said that I create value for people, because you have to create value before you can take value out. And this is when people are worried about their business and they're putting something in and they're doing all this and they're creating something which, they feel that it's amazing. And if they have a good clue to know whether you're on the right track, is look at the people around you. If you've got amazing people wanting to work with you and there for you, then you could just say to that fear, thank you, fear, I hear you, but I'm going to now be frightened for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to spend the rest of the day creating value. And by actually your choice changes everything. And have you ever seen that cartoon where you've got this guy in a tunnel and he's kind of digging and digging, and he's been digging for years, and then he stops, and literally 1 foot away there's like this mountain of diamonds, but he stops.
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh, I have to find it for you. And that happens to so many people. I've seen or people, go only so far with their doing something on their land, and then they sell their land, and then they find that they've got a huge amount of oil under their land and things like this. But they stop because fear has stopped them. And this is why these business models are so important, and life planning is so important, because you take away the risks and you get closer to it. So it's about more action needed. And that's another thing too. Sometimes where you can just feel that you can't achieve anything, but when you just put your running shoes on, and just, if you can't run, for whatever reason, your knee, your back, your weight, the environment or whatever, you're going to have to think about, just put those running shoes on and just start to walk, and your day changes, and then as more that you do all these positive things, it changes. And I think but these are very serious things that you say. And the thing is, it's about making it happen. And in my life, I've been told so many times, I can't do that. Oh, you can't have one of those. You can't do that. Oh, who are you to do that? And, I always went very, very quiet. But I had such a knowing that I can do that and more, and I'm going to. And I'm not going to ask anybody. And that's another thing. People look for approval. And this approval thing doesn't help mix with fear, because you have to approve of yourself, so it's about taking action and moving forward. And then and those moments that it is difficult, you can and it's okay to say poor me sometimes, and sometimes it's okay to have rough days. We all have them. I had a few rough days this week. I was so hot I just slid off my chair. It was like being in a sauna, and I was like, it was horrible. But anyway, so feel much better today. The thing is, not every life isn't perfect, and everything isn't great, and sometimes things really suck. But it's not what happens to you; it's what you do with them.
Well said. And question I have for you, I think I've mentioned before in this show that my mom and I are avid watchers of Shark Tank. We watch Shark Tank all the time. And something that comes up almost every show is somebody comes on, they have a business, they mortgage their house, they borrowed money from their friends, they have a revenue stream, but yet they still need more money for inventory, for this, for that. And Mr. Wonderful will say, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. So my question is, when people have businesses or they're thinking of going into business, where is the delineation between fear of failure and then reality check that maybe this is a failure and you should cut bait and move on?
Well, that's a good question, but it starts before you even start it's by actually your business model, because business models don't lie. They really don't. And a business model is different from a business plan. Now, the thing is, a business plan, which I do not like them, and a lot of bank managers over in the UK and London will ask for them, but I think they're the most ridiculous things, because they get you to make up a story, which is predicted. I predict that I'm going to sell 2,000 chocolate muffins in this period of time. So there's all these predictions, but there's no clients. Yeah. And this is the thing. So it's about waking up. So the thing is, if you're serious about setting up a real business, first of all, you have to realize that it's going to take a lot of work. You have to realize that you are going to have difficulties. So it's about preparing for that. And that's why I've always been someone that I started off with having like 3 jobs. And quite often I will do several things to make sure everything is okay. I don't rely on one thing. Go, this is me. I'm brand clever and this is my business. No, I don't do that. That's one thing that I do, but I never have. And so the thing is, with these people, I've got such, she knows, with these people who are who look at it like how a business should be, they think a business should be like that. It's not necessarily true. So what's the difference between business model and business plan? A business model is really a factual, pragmatic thing. Plan that shows you where the money is, and then it shows you what you have to do to get it. But most importantly, it will show you how to get the clients, because without clients, there is no business. And you know what? I'm astounded with some people's arrogance, how rude they are to people and how bad they are at forming relationships. And they expect to get as huge of value out of their business. And it's the people that around you and the people who are your clients. Without them, without raving fans, you have no business. So any of those people that are watching, and if any of that stung anybody, I'm really sorry, but I'm not, because I want everyone to thrive and do great in this world. But really get it together. You have to be genuine and nice to people. And you actually have to have something of value. Create the value. And then you can start to build up something fantastic. And also anything good that really works, really good value, and a supply for a demand, you can't hold that back when that's done really well. But you know what, Dr. Jacalyn, what I see some people are very disillusioned is because they want to do things that they like. Yeah, like business cards. Fantastic example. I don't know how many people that have said to me, well, I'd like a pink one. Do you know, I just love pink. I don't know what it is about it, but I love pink. I can see pink website, pink cards. I could get some pink shoes. And then and my eyes are going cross-eyed. And then I have to ask them, well, how is that going to work for the clients? What if they don't like pink? And what if your product has got nothing to do with all the energy of the pink or the pink messaging? So this is the thing. So it's a reality check. You have to think about the clients that you're serving. And then you will find, and when you can solve their problem, you can make your fortunes.
Mhm. Wow, lots of gems in there, Daphne.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we know what happens. What's happened to me, it was really rough out there, and it can be still very rough. And going right through the world, building really big projects and leading teams of guys and being a feminine and other experiences in life which were just awful. Oh, it's like I'm a survivor. So I speak from real experience. I speak from the experience, and also too, I've done it so often. I've gone from zero to hero myself so many times. So I'm so well practiced. So I know what it feels like when everything is ripped out of your world. Where there's one world, you have suddenly a world 1 minute, and then you have nothing the next, but nothing, and then how to build up from that. And how also you can create the most wonderful projects, and then very wicked people can come in and do very wicked things and then take you down to zero. But really, you're the hero, okay? And so much pain. I have had so many journeys of pain. So the thing is, so I know what these things feel like. And this is one of the reasons I do Brand Clever. And this is why I'm here today, because I really care. I don't want other people to have that pain. I don't want people to experience those things. So if any of the things I've experienced can help anybody, that's wonderful. Then let's balance it up a little bit. But I have to also remind everybody today, this is a wonderful time to be alive. We have the internet, we have Zoom, we have technology. It's up to us to make life good. It's up to us to build our world, and it's not for us to, be staring at the shadows and then jump under the bed because we think there's a scary monster around. That's no way of living. We have to really stand up for ourselves, get clear to what we want. And if we don't know what we want, take a little time with some running shoes or walk in the park or hide in the library with a pen and paper, whatever little place of sanctuary you can find, and take some time to figure things out. Ask yourself questions. Or another thing that you can do, you can find a few friends and say, ask me some difficult questions. I need to find out a bit more about myself. Get out of your comfort zone. Anyway, I'm here if anyone's got any questions. And that's it for today.
Diane Boehm, create value to create value out. Don't let fear stop you. Your show is very inspiring.
Oh, thank you, Diane. That's really lovely. Yeah.
That is really nice. Yes. Yeah, I think you hit on a lot of things that are really resonating with me personally, and also from a business perspective. And just going back to the journey, and I started to think, I haven't been out of this house, like really out of this house in so long, that there is an incredible fear, not just about driving, getting on the highway, but going and seeing other people and being with other people. And with the Delta variant and all these things, and before you know it, before I even leave the house, I could have myself convinced not to go because of fear. And so you really do have to plan. I like what you said about even for the travel, just plan on making some stops and having things to look forward to. And then it sort of breaks everything down from having this huge weight, on. And I think with business, I just know from a personal perspective that, and we talked about this before, that the first time I ever had anyone talk to me about a money model was you. And yet I have spent so much money hiring people to do this and do that. And it's always like, oh, you need a better website, or you need different business cards, or you need hats with logos, and I spent all the money doing those things, but no one ever talked to me about how I was going to make the money. And I think that's important for people, because as a business owner, you will get contacted by people all the time. Oh, we see you need virtual assistants, or would you like to pay for leads, or would you like to pay for followers? Or constantly getting people asking me to do something and spend money. But it wasn't until I met you and Stephen that money model was even brought up. And it's like, hallelujah, someone's going to help me make money.
Exactly. And the thing is, it's just like I'm having so much fun doing the work I'm doing for you at the moment. And next week, I've got some lovely surprises for you. You're gonna love it. But no, it's also you're brave, Dr. Jacalyn. You're brave, and you're a delight to work with. And you've got so much to give. But it's like in all these businesses, when people want to be a part of something, then put the value in. Don't just show up and expect to take the value out. Yeah. So all our teams, it's about the people that put in. Yeah. And once you've put in and created value, then you can take something out, but not before. So if anyone's thinking of mortgaging their house and borrowing money from their friends, please do not do that until you've got a business model. And also, when you're a person with a good attitude and you can talk some clear sense and offer something great, you need to be like the Pied Piper. Go and make some friends, get a following. You can do that. Get your crowd first, get your clients, then start helping. Start working. You see, this is another thing, that there are some people out there that like the idea of having a business, but they don't want to. I had an interesting conversation with someone. It was like, well, this is really good, but I'm actually looking to step in and out when I want to. Well, I'm very sorry, that doesn't work. If it's a really good brand, you are in it and you are leading it, or you're delegating, or you're doing something, but you're not stepping in and out. So either step out or step in. Choose. You can't do that.
Yes.
But, I'm very forthright and very clear talking in a very loving way. But we want people to do well here.
We certainly do. And I think you brought up a subject for another show, but I think, when you have your own business, it is your baby, right? It's not like you are going to a job, or maybe you're punching a clock, or maybe you have to be there from 9 to 5 or whatever it is. That's your baby all the time. And I think there is a fine line of when you are not working all of your waking hours and you do take some time for yourself, and then when you actually could go on a vacation. Because, like, let's just say, for example, with what we're doing here, this requires showing up. This requires being here, right? So if I said, hey, Daphne, I'm going to go for a run, I'm not going to make the show today. Well, that wouldn't be very good for business, right? And it would be very soon that people would say, we can't really rely on Dr. Jacalyn because she might not show up. So I think it would be interesting to explore, where is that fine line when you have your business to take time for yourself, for a mental health break, and also to be around friends and do other things.
Exactly. Well, we'll do that next week. I'll come up with something, a model especially for that, and we'll do that next week.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you again. It's been a beautiful lesson, and we are streaming your banner, but where can people reach you? How can they reach you? And who should reach out to you?
Who should reach out to me? People who the things that I've said today really resonate with them, and they really get it, and they want to know more, want to be more. Those people should reach out. And for those people that don't, but find the whole thing inspiring, then, check me out on Facebook. Be a friend. Anyway, good way to get me is my email. It's my name, Daphne@DaphneDiluce.com. From anybody listening who can't see the banner, my name is spelled Daphne, Daphne, and then Daphne@Diluce.com. So Daphne@DaphneDiluce.com, and Diluce is spelled Diluce, which means of light in Italian. I love it.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Daphne Diluce. It's always a pleasure seeing you, and I'm sure we'll be catching up very soon.
We will. Okay, bye for now. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. That was such a brilliant lesson. I always learn so much from Daphne, and she has this way of delivering it, and her personality exudes through it, that it's easy to understand what she's saying and take what she's saying and put it into action. I think that's what really makes a difference, is is hearing the information and figuring out where can you embrace it in your life so that you're not living under that shadow of fear where we're literally paralyzed and not able to do anything. So taking that on myself, I am going to come up with a plan and a strategy for my trip so that there is not a fear factor, and instead I can actually enjoy it, because that's what life is about, right? Enjoying what it is you're doing instead of coming up with all these reasons why you're not going to enjoy it because of fear. So make fear your friend. Please do reach out to Daphne at daphnedeluce.com. She's also on Facebook. And we have another show coming up, which is fashion, fitness, travel, and leisure. So please do join us. That is at 12 o'clock Eastern time, which is 5 p.m. British summertime. I'm going to leave us with a beautiful video. And this is actually magnificent horses, the Royal Artillery. And the horses are on a beautiful beach where many films, famous films, have been filmed. And you'll see the name of the beach right now. So take a look, and we'll be back shortly. Thanks again. Bye, Daphne.